And then there were 6. Spain, France, Czech Republic, Albania.
Switzerland, Malta.
That's right, tip of the tongue. It is time for us to go around and name our individual top 3. Are you guys ready?
Let's
do this!
That was almost in sync. Porig, why don't you kick us off with your number 3?
Well, I'm having a bit of an issue, and for once it's a good issue, because normally with me it's kind of all the songs are bad and I can't pick a good one, whereas now it's kind of, there are 4 songs that are very close together for me, and 3 songs. There's one that's my definite last place, and then there's 3 more that are kind of together, and they could be my third, they might not. It's kind of in and out, but on reflection, I would have to kind of think that the edge goes to Albania with Eugene Bushpepper with Mal. And I think purely, obviously, it's a song with Albania. We know that they can change things drastically and it can go from being okay to being terrible. But hopefully I'm getting kind of the vibes that this will be more like Ronan Nishlu's revamp in 2012, and that it will stay true to the FIK performance. But there's something about this that it kind of just, I don't know, it touches me in a way that there's so much emotion in his not in his studio performance, in the live performance, because I didn't really rate this before I saw Festival of Kenga's live, and then in the final, just the way he emotes the words, because I don't have a clue what he's singing, and yeah, there's a very classy feel. It feels more expensive than what Albania normally does, because a lot of the time it feels like probably some of their other entries are much more expensive in reality, but this feels genuine and authentic. They're not trying to be a knockoff of an American diva or whatever. And in a way, it kind of feels old school and almost that it could be in San Remo in Italy. And I don't think I have much more to say on it, but it is my number 3.
So Mal was nearly my number 3 as well, actually. Again, it's the same kind of problem where there are a lot of songs. I don't dislike any of the songs. But in the end, my number 3 is Lie to Me, Miklos Josef for the Czech Republic.
Lie to me, oh baby, come a little closer. Lie to me, oh baby, lean upon my shoulder. Lie to me, get down on my body, love me like it was always meant to be. Now you love somebody new, I always knew, so come and give it to me.
I didn't rate the song when I first heard it. I thought it was kind of generic, sleazy, cheap pop. And then I heard it a second time and I heard it a third time. And now I've kind of got to the point where I really enjoy it. Like, I've got it on my gym playlist now. It's just kind of hanging around and I just really enjoy it. He's obviously having a lot of fun with it. We know that they're having to do a clean version, but that won't probably change the song that much, I feel like. But I just think that, yeah, it's a very genuinely good entry, particularly for the Czech Republic. I do still worry a little bit about how it'll come across live, because this is the only one, I think, where we've not seen like a live performance all the way through. Yes, he's done a short acoustic version and this and that, but all the others, we've seen them in a national final live on stage. So yeah, that's a little concern, but I think it's such a good song. It's such a good pop song. And I really hope that it does well for the Czech Republic. They deserve it, I think. And I can see the televote being really good for this one.
So I'm going to preface my number 3 by saying we're currently comparing apples with oranges with pineapples, because we've only heard the studio cut of Czech Republic. We have a much longer than 3-minute version from Albania. You know, there's just so many things up in the air right now, so it's not a level playing field. In any case, my number 3... ooh la la, it's France. Madame Monsieur with Mercy. I love this song. I love all of my top 3. In fact, I love all of my top 5. There are a lot of songs I like this year, so this was hard and this is close. But I'm putting France third. Yeah, it's got a great message. Her voice is fantastic. Increasingly, I like the staging. I think wearing all black actually makes sense with those pops of red. I just think that on the camera cuts, they need to make those pops of red more obvious, because I remember thinking, oh, she's only in black. But then I rewatched her. I'm like, oh, she's got a red lip. Oh, she's got some red shoes. Oh, she's got some red fingernails. I love her dancey jig at the end. A story of sadness, but also hope. She's giving tragedy life. It's beautifully presented. I think on the big stage, this could really, really come to life. I think this could elevate significantly, because they were on a small stage in France, let's be honest. They had some waves in the background. That was about it. But yeah, this is a quality entry. It's gonna do well. I'm hoping they slay. So we move on to Porrig's number 2.
My number 2 is Czech Republic, Miklas Joseph with Lie to Me.
You know I like it. You look so good. Set my camel in the mood. When you just lie to me, oh baby, come a little.
And it's one of those songs that from the first instant I heard it, I liked it. Because the problem with a lot of songs that are selected is you kind of have to listen to it a few times before it grows. And that obviously doesn't work particularly well at Eurovision. But Miklas's song, it's just catchy, it's well produced, all the lyrics are well thought out. Because the thing is, he's saying kind of nonsense lyrics, but in a way they sort of make sense. And they fit in, like, he's going on about spaghetti, but the spaghetti, it doesn't jump out at you because it flows. Everything flows so smoothly and the production covers it. Whereas if we think back to the Maltese selection and you had Brooke singing about her pack of wolves with their heart of gold, that really jumped out and was clunky because it didn't fit the song and you were jumping from one thing to the other and the flow and the structure, and it was all a mess. Whereas he's going on about his spaghetti and his whatever else he is going on about. And then in his music video, he has the camels, and it's also wonderfully random. And I just hope that in the clean version that it's not sanitized, because it doesn't need to be cleaned up that much. Because Robin Benson, even though he got rid of the beautiful and made it freaking beautiful, there was still it was still quite saucy, and there was elements where he wanted to just put his clothes on the floor, and what Cerebro back in 2007 were singing about. So yeah, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. But yeah, I think it's the Czech Republic's strongest song probably ever. It's definitely their most contemporary one, and it deserves to make the final.
Yes.
So, unsurprisingly for some people, my number 2 is Zibs with Stones for Switzerland.
Just to confess, where the liars in the face of facts. Different weapon, but the same attack. No, I ain't throwing stones. No, I ain't throwing stones.
I apparently am the Swiss fanboy these days. I genuinely think...
These days, honey, let's rewind to 2015, 2016, 2017, and now 2018. Please proceed. It's good to have a fan in you.
I'm going to be moving to Zurich at this rate, apparently. No, I think the staging wasn't quite right in the Swiss national final, or at least the styling. I preferred the styling sort of in that one promo shot where they look a bit more edgy or alternative, or dare I say it, a bit hipster. She kind of like Madonna doing the music video all over again, which didn't quite work. But all that being said, I love the studio version. She does sound good live. And I just really like the song. You know, I kind of like the message behind it. This kind of weirdly, is it political? Is it not? People are saying it's religious. It's definitely not. You know, there's kind of all these angles that people are coming at it from, though, and I think that's good. It'll get people talking. I just think that it's a really good song, though. It's got that kind of a little bit of aggression behind it, which I think is missing from a lot of the other songs already this year. Like even Mal, it's not particularly aggressive rock. It's kind of a nice pop rock song. This has got that kind of like a little bit of an extra edge, which I think is nice, and it's different for Switzerland. So yeah, they're my number 2.
Switzerland were one of those countries. Switzerland, along with Spain, were the ones that were battling with Albania for my number one spot. But Switzerland, I felt that while I really liked the studio version, when I saw it live, I was kind of like, oh, this is okay, but it didn't capture my attention, and I felt cold that they didn't have the same emotional heft of, say, Mal and Albania. And maybe this is something that could be improved on, because granted the Swiss stage was quite small, but I don't know, it feels like one of those songs that it's very credible and I wouldn't skip it, but that Switzerland tend to send credible songs, and the credible songs don't qualify because they're missing that little edge that makes them competitive.
Yeah, for me, this song just sounds far too familiar. It's very nice, very pleasant. It's like a Jim Carrey movie. I'll watch it and enjoy it, but I'm not going to rush to watch it again. Like, it's just kind of there. It doesn't leave an impact. And in fact, the word cold is quite good. It left me cold. It's not my number 2. In any case, my number 2, and I would not have said this a few weeks ago. In fact, I would have laughed if this country was my number 2, but then I saw the staging. It is Malta. Yes, Christabel, Taboo.
No, we will never be criminals, criminals. The sticks and stones will break my soul. Gotta be your miracle, miracle. It's in my bones. Gotta break the taboo before we all become animals, animals.
Is not taboo. Look, she's one of my favorite singers from Malta. That's a starting point. But she can sing. She can sing, and she can sing this. She turns a song in the studio version, which is just okay, into something akin to pop art. It's like Lorene's Statements, but less dark, because this is a journey from darkness to light. Anatomical, astronomical, magical, physical, when she comes up in your face, musical, because she can sing. This has everything. There's a lot going on, but it doesn't feel too much. I just feel like they got this right, and this has the potential to be even bigger on a big stage. Notice they weren't reliant on the LED. Yes, there was a big cougar or tiger at the beginning, but the rest of it was some innovative staging. She's in a box, but she was thinking outside the box. And that's what I like, the fleshy dancers who reminded me of Lena's backing singers, like they were wearing body condoms or something from 2011. It's just really interesting, and she manages to keep changing things up with each verse, and so it's a journey. That's so cliche, but it's like a journey. And so for the full 3 minutes, I'm with her, and it's been in my head ever since she won. And to me, that's a good sign. It knocked a lot of songs out of my head because I'm thinking about Christabel. Yeah, I'm just hoping they nail the staging, because if they don't nail the staging, then the weaknesses of the lyrics and such might come through. As for now, I'm into the lyrics at this point. Before I was like, what? But now it kind of makes sense visually. Throw your shade, please. Throw the shade.
When I said that there was kind of one song that was my clear sixth, it was Malta. I like this song. It's a nice, innocent song. There's always songs every year that in the run-up to Eurovision, I don't like them because they're not competitive enough. And I kind of worry that they might knock out my favourite. So the one that always springs to mind is Lydia Isaac with Falling Stars. But then after Eurovision, once all thought of competition is out of my mind, I like that song because it's not offensive and I won't skip it. But when it comes to Eurovision, no. And even if she changes the song completely, well, she needs to change elements of it, because I think it has the potential. Like, she builds and builds and builds, and then she takes us to the edge of a massive chorus, and then she just falls right down. That she doesn't explode. The chorus doesn't explode in the same way that it should. And Thomas Gieson is capable of creating explosive choruses. So hopefully he's able to tweak around in the studio and fix that part of it. And then another part, but I think I looked back at her performance after we did a reaction video, and I think we got too carried away by saying how good the staging was, because we looked at it and she had all these screens and they were great. But once she stepped away from the screen, she started jumping up and down, and it was very unchoreographed, and it didn't look particularly dignified. Like, it looked like she was a schoolgirl skipping jump rope and up and down, and it didn't look slick enough for a Eurovision entry. But I presume Malta will invest in choreographers and all that and tidy it up. But yeah, it's not going to be my number one.
The only thing I'd say about the video is if it's the Eurovision video that they uploaded on the Eurovision YouTube, that I think was her reprisal, where she was probably a bit excited, and that might have been where choreography was lost. I'm not certain. But yeah, I think it's probably like my number 5 or my number 6. But again, I like it. I do like it. I just think it's by far the weakest song. Like the staging definitely lifts it up, but just in terms of the song, I just feel like it's still lacking a bit too much. Whereas some of the other ones, okay, the staging is either non-existent or wasn't great. At least the song carries them. And at the end of the day, it is, you know, I know we always say it is a song contest, so. But I think that there's definite potential there, and I don't dislike it. I will happily watch the video. I just probably wouldn't listen to it right now.
Different strokes for different folks. It's not taboo. We're all friends. Porig, we move on to your number 1 so far.
Well, I struggled to come up with my number 3, but I have no such problem for my number 1. My number 1, by far and away, is France, Madame Monsieur with Merci.
Je suis tous ces enfants que la paix a appris. Je vivrai 100 000 ans, je m'appelle Merci.
And I think that at this moment in time, they're the ones that have the most complete package. The song, it has a message, but it's not preachy. It's catchy, yet it's sophisticated. It's poppy, yet it also fits into Salvador Sobral's anti-fast music movement. The staging probably needs a bit of work, but they have a concept in that they're very striking visually. They just need to work on the stage itself and what's going on in the background. Yeah, and the song itself, I was kind of dismissive of it initially because I really liked another song in the selection, but once that song proved to be disastrous live, my eyes were opened to the wonders of Merci. And yeah, at the moment, I don't see it as, it's definitely my number 1 right now, but it's not kind of in an unassailable position where no other song is going to knock it off. I'm prepared for better songs to come along, but at the moment, it is the clear frontrunner of our Fantastic Six.
So my number 1 is also Madame Monsieur with Merci for France.
Et là devant nos yeux, il y avait l'ennemi, une immensité bleue, peut-être infinie. Et là, connaissait le prix. Surgissant d'une vague, un navire ami a redonné sa chance à notre survie. C'est là que j'ai poussé mon premier cri.
I think, I pretty much have to echo a lot of what Porig said. The staging, I actually preferred the staging in their semi-final to the final staging. Oh. There were bits of the final staging which were better. I think they got some of the camera cuts right more there. But I just preferred the original version. So hopefully they'll find, they have time to work on all that. They know what they're doing. That the French team behind them have, done it for 2 years straight now. So I think there's definitely a really good song there. I don't see it as a Eurovision winner. I've never really seen it as the winning song of the year. But I think it's definitely, top 5, top 10. I think almost no doubt that it'll be top 5, top 10. And yeah, I struggle to find any real massive flaw with it. There's niggles here or there, but overall I just find it the best song the entire way through of the bunch. And I just keep listening to it. I can't stop listening to it, which is always a good sign. It's doing really well on iTunes as well, so it's got commercial friendly. Like there's just so much right about it, and I can see this doing really well. They've got the story. They're not over-egging the story at this point, so hopefully they won't start doing that. I just love it.
Well, my number 1, I'm taking y'all from Paris to Barcelona. It is Spain, honey!
Siento que bailo por primera vez. Eres el arte que endulza la piel de mi mente viajera que sigue a tus pies. Siento que bailo por primera vez junto
Now, look, let me just give you a preface. I went on YouTube after we filmed our reaction video, and some people were like, you've just been beaten up by Spanish fans for so many years, that's why you're so into Almaya. And you two know me. That is not how I roll. Rewind to Beret. I'm happy to change my mind and throw an act under a bus if I don't like the staging or I don't like a change. This has nothing to do with Spanish fans. This is about me liking this song. Doing this, before we sat down, I listened to all the songs again, and it was between France and Malta for my number one. But then I played Spain, and wait a minute, bam, it blew them up. That song is magical. It is magical. Just like Salvador Sobral last year gave a quiet moment, which proved to be the loudest moment, this does that for me. There's intimacy here. There is intimacy. Yes, the pianos are cheesy. Yes, the clothes were atrocious, but that was just in the OT Eurovision Gala. They can do something different and more intimate and more special on that big stage in Lisbon. I know that sounds strange, but I think with a few tweaks, this will be extra magical. That melody gets stuck in your head. It really does. It's the one that I keep humming, that in Malta. It just, da, na, 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 na. It's just so simple, but I think that's a good thing. And yet I don't feel this is imitating Salvador Sobral, because Salvador Sobral is an experimental jazz performer with a boho edge who's very much freestyling. This was not freestyling what they were doing. It was two people singing to each other, and you felt a connection. Whether they're going to get married or not, whether it's just puppy love, there is a connection, a deep friendship at a minimum, an everlasting romance as a potentiality. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. And it gives me tingles. It gave me tonight a greater kind of rush of wow than Salvador Sobral did last year. I'm not saying they're going to win, but there's something very special here. And I just love it. And also, it's the fact that their voices, they're not trying to be like Mariah Carey or Celine Dion. This is not a shout fest. Like, they're not going for that big note or the big explosion. It's fireworks inside, fireworks in your heart. You can feel it in your soul. I'm going to get emotional. Rewatching it just now, I'm not even kidding you, I welled up. I didn't cry, but I welled up. Because there's something just so nice about this. And fix the clothes, ditch the pianos, and you're on to Spain's best finish in a very long time. Very, very long time. You know what? Of all these songs, this is the one that I could see winning if everything came together. I'm not saying that it will. It's so early. But I'm saying at this moment, y'all can laugh, y'all can roll. I'm just keeping it real. I love this song. And their voices.
Well, this has grown on me. And it was one of the songs that was kind of battling out for my top three. But in the end, I don't know. It's just too manufactured and manipulative, because it doesn't strike me as a real love song. I see it as the producers saw this narrative developing after they did the La La Land duet in one of the earlier heats of OT, and it caught the Spanish imagination. And so the producers wanted to capitalize on it because it was good for ratings. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the two of them, Alfred and Amaya, got by far the best song when it comes to quality and melody and everything like that. That when you looked at the songs, there was really no competition. And what elevated the two that were up against it was one was kind of upbeat and dancey, and then the other one had very, very strong vocals. But this was the whole package as a song. But I don't think, it's not particularly revolutionary or different. And I think it's too similar to Salvador Sobral to kind of have the same wow factor, because Salvador Sobral does all these experimental things with his voice, but he didn't do it during his Eurovision performance. All that was saved for rehearsals. Europe's television viewers didn't see any of that. So if you're looking at them, they're two very similar songs influenced by La La Land. That's what you would say as someone who's kind of out of the loop. It's one of these songs that it could be top 10. I wouldn't be surprised to see it top 10, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see it bottom 5.
Not since Elle and Nikki as a duo lit my fire. Sorry, Chris.
She's better than him, and that's the main problem I have with this, I think. I know that he does have a lot of fans, Alfred, but I just think that Amaya's voice, I think she shines through. And I do repeat, in that performance, he looked a bit he looked really uncomfortable. And I just kind of feel like it's the one that I forget the most. And I do think that there is, if you follow it and if you know the story and you buy into the story that they're telling, and I do think that there is some reality to their love story. We'll see how that progresses once they're out of OT. But I do get that, and if you buy into it, then I think that does lift it. But I just think that there are a lot of people who will watch this for the first time on the final on the 12th of May and be like, oh, it's two people singing a duet together. And maybe, if they can sell it and if they really do, improve the staging and all this and that, but it feels like I keep on coming up with things like, well, they need to do this, and then they need to do this, and I keep on finding problems as to why people won't vote for it, as opposed to some of the other songs where I'm like, well, they'll vote for this because of this reason. It feels like there's more on the anti side for me than there is the positive, but I do like it. It's just not one of my top three. It is probably like my 5 or 6 again.
I appreciate your honesty, but I have 2 rebuttals. Numero uno. It's true to some that she is the more talented performer. However, I would say that behind every strong man is a strong woman. Let's flip it. Behind every strong female performer, there's a man who can help her shine. He's doing what he needs to do to help her shine. And I think together it just fits. Although I actually thought his voice sounded better. So maybe it's just a matter of opinion. He does this thing. Obviously, I can't sing, so I can't do it. But I think he sounds great. And I think on his solo, his solo song was way better than her solo song. And that was a turning point for me where I started to view him as kind of an equally strong performer, if not stronger performer. My second point, numero uno dos. I can't remember it. The first was about him. The second was, oh yeah, they're in an academy, right? They are learning. They are amateurs learning. And so with each performance in OT, and I only dipped in from time to time, you saw them growing. So between now and May, there's so much scope for growth. I think that they will have things in a better place. The whole story of their romance, I just hope they don't break up before May. I think maybe Porig said that in a tweet. Because if they do, that's going to cause some problems. My advice to them, don't think too far in the future. Just take it day by day. Take it slow. Don't think you have to get married just because of the cameras. You just got to make this relationship work on your terms and in your time. In any case, those are our top 3. It's interesting. We had a nice mix, you guys. No one had the same order. In any case, what are your top 3? What are your top 6? Who's on top? Who's on bottom? Who's versatile? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe so that you can see all our videos and hit the notifications bell.
And make sure to give us a like.
And we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.